What's up, and welcome to another edition of the Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you all reviews on all things wrestling. And before I get started, I want to thank all the viewers. For those of you who enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified on all things Danny from your host, Daniel Cody. I gotta say, wow! Wow. I just don't have enough words to describe night one of WrestleMania 37 last night. And that's just part one because tonight is part two. But oh my goodness. I'm sorry, y'all. I just had to come in with these type of emotions because last night it was just amazing. If you haven't seen it, go find whatever you can from YouTube, Daily Motion, or order it on Peacock. You got to see this. Whatever you got to do to see this, I just can't explain it enough. Last night was awesome. We started the night off, first of all, y'all forgive me because I have a bit of a faith-based upbringing. And where I'm from, when rain comes where I'm from, in my environment, the first thing we say, look at the devil trying to ruin us. This ain't nothing but the devil trying to ruin our fun. And look at the enemy last night. We all saw, in the beginning, rainstorm, a little bit of rain came in, but the devil wasn't gonna ruin this. The devil can't steal our night. Just kidding, but in all seriousness, and that's just where I'm from. I'm just using humor from my upbringing. But last night, the devil didn't have our night. The devil couldn't have our night. He tried to send the rain to ruin it, but he couldn't. And last night delivered. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. The match stole the show. Congratulations, Bobby won. And while the moment wasn't iconic as Stone Cold from WrestleMania 30, it's got to be pointed out that Drew McIntyre did not tap out. I kind of feel for Drew McIntyre because he wasn't able to win and get the championship back on the grandest stage in front of thousands of supporters. Yes, the fans are back, and I must say, the fans were just as electric as NXT. Sometimes when we look at wrestling before the pandemic, you thought to yourself, man, NXT is always loud and WWE's crowd is not as loud. Not last night. Last night was on fire. It was like watching NXT because everybody was hyped up from top to bottom, from start to finish, rather. Sorry, you guys, excuse me. Just had to get my throat together. Last night, Bobby Lashley versus Drew started the match off. I couldn't think of a better way to start the match off. We started big, we went big, and we ended big. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to talk about the ending. But Bobby Lashley won last night, and congratulations to Bobby Lashley for winning and retaining in WWE Universal Heavy. No, that's SmackDown, the World Heavyweight Championship. And speaking of bloopers, did anyone catch which one? Mandy. There was a lot of bloopers that happened last night, especially starting with Mandy, because of course you had the rain that affected the night, but thankfully it was able to go on, and Mandy Rose ended up slipping. She slipped, but it wasn't much. But it's not as embarrassing as what happened to Titus O'Neil, but it was still kind of funny. And I must say, I hope that Titus and Hogan got along for real, because we all know this controversy that has surrounded Hulk Hogan in the past. But to see those two come together and get along like that was very historic and just awesome. Both of them are well-known native Tampa citizens, as well as Big E, who will be in action tonight against Apollo. But sorry to his New Day members, they lost the championships, and I must say, because of Omos, those guys are going to be champions for a long time. Unless David comes back from the dead and clones himself with 10 stones, because one David will have 5 and another will have 10. We'll have another 5, we'll make it 10. No one's going to stop this team anytime soon. It'll take 2 clones of the biblical David to stop those two. But I have to say, it was wise of them, the New Day I'm speaking of, to isolate AJ Styles. But when Omos got tagged in, I'm like, oh God, y'all finna die. They finna die, New Day finna lose. Because look at the size of Omos. And look at those two. Man. But I hope the omen is not anything better to come, because I really hope Big E wins tonight against Apollo Crews. And it is so ironic that we see a lot of people like myself and in my ethnicity making history tonight. Bobby Lashley retaining the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. And this is not the first time we've had that type of calibers. 2 years ago, we had Kofi Kingston win the championship from Daniel Bryan, and then that same night we had 3 women wrestle in the first ever women's main event. But that one was broken with a greater history tonight, which I'm gonna get into. We have Omos. No one's gonna stop those two anytime soon. Omos and AJ Styles, they're gonna be champions for a long time. Long time. Just hope that's not a bad omen for Big E later on tonight. However, we will see Natalya and Tamina go up against Nia and Shayna Baszler after winning the tag team turmoil. But I have to say, speaking of Nia, 3 years ago, Nia defeated Alexa Bliss before she lost her mind in a match for the women's championship. But that match was not just about championships, it was about standing up to a bully, which is why I so enjoyed Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon, because that script wasn't just about Braun Strowman beating up Shane McMahon. It is about people in high positions bullying people who they think are not good enough to them. And that script really speaks personally to me from what I've seen. I'm not going to get too personal, but for what I've seen my mother go through, not being treated as good enough and have people in higher powers look down upon you like that. So what happened with Nia Jax versus Alexa at WrestleMania 34. At WrestleMania 34, that match was so inspirational. This match was also inspirational because it's about people in high places being bullies and finally getting theirs. That's why we love the Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon angle, because it's about crooked bosses, people who want to stun their bosses. And I'm sure for some of you are watching, you wanted to stun your boss or stun your bad teacher, unless you had a crush on your teacher. Hopefully your teacher didn't go to jail for doing anything inappropriate, but y'all know what I mean. Let's keep this PG. Anyway, I love that match with Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. And I love watching Shane get thrown off the roof of the cage. Now, let me show you how smart Braun was. The last time he was in a cage match, he threw Kevin Owens over the top ramp of the cage into the announce table, which means both feet of KO touched the floor and Kevin Owens ended up winning. But Braun, not being stupid, but very smart, threw Shane off into the ring and finished him off with the slam. Even though Shane's two stooges, and it's so ironic because in the 90s it was Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson, God rest his soul, and now we have the two stooges for Shane McMahon, Elias and another fellow Georgian, Kyler. How do you pronounce that guy's name? I gotta figure it out later on. But either way, congratulations to Braun Strowman. This is for anyone who has ever been bullied and picked on by and told they weren't good enough by people in stereotyped high places, whether it be people that made more money than you or had greater positions in the job. I love that match because Braun Strowman, this is for anyone. This is for us. And this is for people who have watched friends be treated like crap by people in high places. So, Mom, for you also, even though no one's ever called you stupid, but for all the times you've been looked down on by others, this one's for you too. Thank you, Braun, for silencing the bully. Now all we need is for George Floyd's killer to finally be brought to justice, and 2021 would be perfect because that guy was a bully. Either way, moving on, Bad Bunny teaming with Damian Priest versus Miz and Morrison. First of all, Miz and Morrison's entry was a little silly, if you ask me. That was just... You know how some of you have probably heard of the music video parody doer Weird Al. His name is Weird Al, something like that. He does parodies for official music videos. You have Michael Jackson Beat It, he did Eat It. Michael Jackson Bad, he did Fat. Trying to Catch Me Riding Dirty, his parody was White and Nerdy. So Miz and Morrison is like the Weird Al version of themselves, just making a joke. It was just funny to me. But congratulations, Bad Bunny had a heck of an entrance with the 18-wheeler. That was awesome. And that move near the end where Bad Bunny took, it was almost like a lucha libre move that you would see from Rey Mysterio, who was on WWE 2K22. Awesome. Oh my goodness, that is going to be great. Rey Mysterio as the main posted character. I can't wait to see more. That looks like that is going to be great. Congratulations to Rey Mysterio, by the way. And Bad Bunny with a special move to Morrison that sent Miz dropping his jaw and was put to finish by Bad Bunny himself. Now, I don't think Booker T appreciated John Morrison stealing his Spinaroonie, but hey, they got theirs. So we're not complaining at all. And last, let me make sure I gave my thoughts on everybody. You have Bobby Lashley, the tag turmoil, and the bloopers. Speaking of other bloopers, I forgot to mention, it was funny how the announcer got it wrong. They said the Riot Squad had been eliminated, when actuality it was Mandy and Dana who had got eliminated. Sometimes it's a lot of names to remember as a fan, but they had got eliminated. So a couple of bloopers we saw tonight. First, it was Mandy that fell and slipped because of the rain. But the rain didn't stop us. You can't hold us. We've been waiting a year to bring some electricity back into the field. And the thing is, actual fans, not some machine thing going on. That's what I enjoyed. It was all real, not sound effects. Because let's face it, in my opinion, the Superdome is sound effects. We're smart like Braun Strowman, and we knew that. But hey, last night was awesome, and to make the night even better, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. Oh my goodness, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, the first ever women's main event. This is the second women's main event. But the thing that gave me chills and butterflies inside my stomach was not that it was just a great match, but the fact that for the first time ever, two African American women were involved in the WrestleMania main event. So much history was made. The last time we saw so much great history made at a WrestleMania like that was 2 years ago when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship. Now here's the thing. The Rock has made history. The Rock has been part of WrestleMania main events. He was a part of 1999, 2000, 2001. 2 and 3 were great matches, but they weren't at the end of the card. But then you had him versus John Cena. He won his first one in his hometown of Miami. So that was historic. The Rock knows what it's like to be a champion in the main event, but this one was absolutely record-breaking because not only did two women end the night, but two African-American women ended the night. WWE is going to have a great time. It's going to be a lot of great history to bring up next February. This is going to be so historic. A great match. Two of my favorite female wrestlers from SmackDown. And yes, Becky Lynch is everyone's favorite, including mine. But as far as SmackDown is concerned, those two are my absolute favorites to watch. They are amazing. Both of them are. But tonight, I am so happy for Bianca. She won at the Royal Rumble, which was also historic. And now more history was made. But I want to talk about a couple of things. The first thing I want to talk about is, if you paid attention, you could tell Bianca was overwhelmed at the beginning of the match. The bell rung, the fans stood up knowing how historic it was. They applauded. Bianca had to try and get her composure together because you could tell she was very emotional and overcome with such joy knowing that this was her in the main event and she was making history for the first time in that category, WrestleMania category. It was just wonderful. Sasha Banks is no stranger to making history herself. Oh my goodness, that match did not disappoint at all. It was amazing to watch. If you haven't watched it, do whatever you can to get it, whether it's through Daily Motion, YouTube, or Peacock. Yes, you can't not watch on Peacock. Oh my goodness. That match was amazing. And what made it even more emotional and special was when Bianca pinned Sasha. You could see, I don't know who that was, but Michael Cole explained that that was her father who almost leaped over the barricade with excitement. That moment was so historical, man. I'm so happy. And that's just night one, man. We got night two coming up tonight. What a show. I am so happy for everyone and just having the fans there that night. The rain tried to stop us, but the rain didn't stop us. And where I'm from, the first thing we'll say is, look at the enemy working. The enemy's trying to steal the night, but he's a liar. That's how I heard it where I'm from. But what an amazing night, and that's just night one. But I will say this, there will be no emotional, heartwarming moments tonight with The Fiend versus Randy Orton. There will be no heartwarming emotions in that match. I cannot wait to see that one. I'm looking forward to that one. The triple threat main event, looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to everything and hope you watch it as well. It is going to be magnificent, and I'll be back later with more reviews on night two. But for now, this is my review on night one, WrestleMania. We still got more to do, y'all. Stay tuned for more. Peace. I'll be with you later.